Hey, it's Raúl Colón from Laughing Gear, and I'm here with some friends that are always into cruising, Laura and Fain. Can you guys introduce yourself?
What is up? I'm Fain.
I'm Laura, and we run a YouTube channel called Travel Spree.
Yeah.
Travel Spree.
Yeah, we make videos on cruising and other travel and stuff like that. And on the side, we also do a little bit of travel agency stuff.
Yeah, I've been following Laura and Fain for a couple of years. I had the chance that when they stopped here in San Juan, I got to meet them and spend a little bit of time with them. And when I think of cruising, I think of only one couple, and that's you. And you, Fain and Laura. When I was thinking of so I did a previous episode on Disney bombing and stuff like that, because there's one person I thought about Disney bombing. I say next thing is I have to talk about cruising, Laura and Fain. So thank you for accepting the invite. Let's start.
First, hold on. You downplayed that. You showed us pretty much the top tier service.
Yeah, that was a private tour.
Yeah, it wasn't just a hangout. It was here, let me show you my place. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Best tour we've ever had of Puerto Rico.
For real.
Oh, thank you guys. You guys are your friends already, even though, we speak to online all the time. Whenever you guys want to come back, let me know and we can do something even cooler if you have more time. That's the thing with cruising, right? When somebody stops, they're usually on a limited time because obviously you want to enjoy the ship, right? You spend a lot of money, but then there's so many other things. So I just want to get started. Can you guys tell me the origin story of Travel Spree? How did it all begin?
Yeah, so I think Fain's YouTube journey began way back in 2009. So yeah. He was a YouTuber way before he met me.
Yeah, I was just testing out the waters, something new, trying to get ahead of the curve. Put it down for a couple of years, and then during the pandemic, I guess, or right before the pandemic happened, I was like, Laura, you want to do a travel channel?
No, you were like, Laura, we're doing a travel channel.
Oh, that. But it pretty much, the cruising aspect came from, I've always loved cruising when I was younger. Laura's been on cruises. I was in college, and I wanted to go on cruises so much, but everyone wanted to go to the beach or whatever. But now that I got my job and everything, I have money, I'm like, let's do cruising. And then also I specialize in video. So it's kind of we put the two together.
Just married the two. And We've been traveling since the very beginning of our relationship.
Yep.
So it just was a common interest we always shared. And it just kind of made sense for us.
Yeah, we went to Disney at our first month.
Yeah, dating. The first couple months we started dating.
Yeah.
We drove down to Disney together from Atlanta. So it's always been there.
That's a good drive. So now that you mentioned Disney, right? And I wasn't talking. So what moves you to create more content on cruises versus doing what a lot of other people are doing? And it's fine. Everybody has their own niche, right? When it comes to creating theme park content.
Well, we've always been more casual Disney fans. I wouldn't, or theme park fans.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's a big passion of ours. We just more so enjoy it.
Yeah.
Cruising is definitely something we're more passionate about, and then just general travel.
Yeah. That's where our heart is. It comes easy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just always been what we lean toward more.
If I can go say I'm going to the Bahamas this weekend, that sounds pretty cool. So it's just little things like that. Just our heart's more into the cruise atmosphere than theme park, even though we do live right next to it.
Yeah, and we do enjoy it. It's just not as much as cruising and travel and seeing new places.
Yeah, I think that we're DVC, and that keeps us a lot more in the theme parks than we would like, especially because we have a young daughter. But I think once we start cruising, we're we done more of this before than the theme parks, because it's just the aspect of, you guys live close by, right? But there's so many people that don't have the chance to go as often, and then the amount of time and effort and stress you have to include to a theme park day, it can make you rethink if it's really a vacation or if it's going to. I was talking to my friend who's a personal trainer. He's not a big theme parks either. I said, listen, it's the same way you guys go to these mud rocker events and stuff like that, and that's sacrifice. That's why sometimes I feel when I go to a theme park, right, there's a lot of effort involved into it.
Yeah,
definitely. Cruising is definitely a set it and forget it type of thing versus planning out your day at a theme park. Even though it's fun, it's still there's a lot more planning that goes into it.
Yeah, a lot more planning. And so you mentioned that Fain started YouTubing, and then Laura, you joined in. What made you kind of I know you guys love what you do because I can see it in the videos. I see it in the interactions we always have. What made you fall in love with documenting travels as a couple? Especially now that you guys are getting married, right?
For me, honestly, it was rough at first because I wasn't used to doing anything like that. I'm a pretty introverted person. So, talking to a camera in public places was like horrifying for me. So it wasn't like a love at first sight type of thing. It took me a while to get into it, but just like for like now, I really, and I still get like stage fright sometimes, but like I really enjoy like when I'm talking to the camera, I feel like I'm more like connecting with the audience than just talking to a camera.
Yeah.
And like our subscriber base, like I feel like I'm talking to them now. So I think having that base has like helped a lot. And then just, it's kind of cool having like all of our trips as a couple just like documented.
Yeah.
Most people, they have like pictures and stuff, but it kind of reminds me of like when I was a kid and, there were home videos of everything and like all your vacations. And I feel like that's come back around in a more like modern way.
Yeah.
And what we're doing, documenting all of our travels. So it's nice to be able to go back and look at those memories.
But also help people understand what cruising is or travel is. We've had a lot of people that started cruising because of our videos, because of they've seen that type of stuff. So it's nice to like share our natural experience, because we don't ever like go in with, here's all the not demographic, but here's all like the aspect ratios and all this about the ship, and this ship is this big and weighs this much. Like, hey, if you're gonna do a cruise, this is a casual experience.
Yeah, we're more so sharing our experience rather than like we're less of an informational channel rather than just like taking people along on our travels.
That's a much
as like a third party kind of.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's cool, right? Because everybody else was interested in, right? Like, just this morning I was talking to a friend who was a photographer, and the things that we worry, right, especially in whatever walk of life we have, is different to what somebody else. But what everybody can connect with is having a good time, right? Because not everybody's gonna care what's the capacity of a ship or it's just cool. And I think that's what is interesting about cruising. You can just get on and everything's so accessible, and it comes because look at a theme park, right? If you want to go to one side to the other, it'll take you a few minutes. In a cruise, you can just wander around and figure it out. And however, I do think that it is informational, right? Because I think the kind of documentation you both do is very real. Like I remember when you guys got COVID on the cruise, right? It was something you could get the expectations. It's probably not the best thing to show, right? But and then one question for you, Laura. I just bought a DI Osmo and I'm trying to create more video because I know I need to do it, right? I'm not as talented as Fain when it comes to editing video. So, and I never want to be in a situation like you mentioned home videos, right? Home videos, we used to make them and then we used to watch them. We have so much capacity to store videos now that a lot of people take videos and they never watch them again, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what's cool about this. It kind of forces you to publish it and have it live somewhere other than your hard drive on your phone or wherever, right?
Yeah.
But then on the other side, you mentioned being frightened or not, being comfortable. In public, that happened to me the other day. I was like, I was going to a market and it wasn't that I'm not afraid of being in front of the camera. I don't want to make people uncomfortable, right? And I was like, you know what? I don't think there's anything here that the audience I want to reach is whatever. And I did an intro and left it there. I didn't do anything else. How do you get over that? Like, how do you work with that?
Yeah, I'm also like painfully aware of other people because I never want to be that person that's like, I'm standing in the way of a walkway or something while I'm trying to video something. And, you become that stereotype of like, oh, vloggers are so annoying or they're inconsiderate. That's always in the back of my head. But honestly, I have to find the balance between that and just like pretending like the world isn't there for a second when I'm vlogging. I feel like I kind of have to lock in at times. And that's something that I feel like Fain has taught me. So like we'll have someone like walk past, like, yelling something loud or something. And in the past I would stop and I'd be like, oh, what is that? Because I have like a horrible attention span sometimes, or it just like kind of knocks me out of my zone. I've learned to really hone in on like the camera and the conversation I'm having. And just kind of like block out the noise of the world.
I mean, but it is nice that you just think you're never going to see these people again, but also you can always do a retake. So if someone walks by real loud, you like stop, collect your thoughts, and then just do it all over again.
Yeah, sometimes
it's easier.
If I notice like I'm, stumbling over my words or things aren't coming out naturally, I'll take a second take a deep breath and just kind of reset myself. And I also try to remember, like, I have a goal that I'm trying to complete. I can't let other people get in my way or what other people might think of me. So it has taken a long time for me to get to that point, and I still have moments where I get messed up by outside triggers, like environments, I don't know, or other people, but it's definitely a skill that you develop. The more you do it, exposure therapy, honestly. So just keep doing it and you'll eventually get somewhat comfortable.
I think we can all agree with that, because the first video I uploaded on YouTube in years, which was a few weeks ago, I have so many filler words because I know I speak fast. And as soon as that pops in my head, then I start using filler words because I want to slow down. And I have a friend who's his name is Scott Monty. He knows how to speak in public. And I said, how do you work with this? He's like, practice, Raúl, practice. You got to keep on practicing. You know,
Yeah.
Best advice. Yeah. And then, Fain, I have a question for you specifically because you're from Bermuda, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So me, as an islander, when I go on a cruise ship, my interests are very different than somebody who's coming from Oregon, right? How do you see that experience of creating content for people who are not have an experience you've had of living on an island like you and I have, but then making sure it connects with them? You know, not making sure your identity is there, but also being conscious that their interests are very different.
It really is, honestly, a little difficult when it comes to that, because yes, from an island, I see the blue ocean, like the one behind you. Like I've grown up seeing that, but at the same time, I have to get back into the mindset of someone that hasn't, and also it helps me just appreciate things a little more. Like, wow, this water is actually really blue. Like I can be at my desk right now at work and not see this. So I just try to get back into that and appreciate everything that I have, and then also just show things like it's my first time seeing it, or if someone's seeing this for the first time, I give them a little information about it. What really helps is like trying new ships or stuff like that, or new destinations, because then you can really like fall into that and like, oh wow, look at this and look at that. So yeah, even though I've seen it more times than not, I've been to Nassau more times than not, I like to find, or I try to find things that I haven't done before, or I wanted to do before but I haven't, and I try to showcase that as something new.
I think that's what's cool, because the other day I was watching the video of these other YouTubers and they stopped here in San Juan, and I could see that they didn't do any research. They just took a checklist of what somebody else was doing. And I found it even offensive if somebody's from Puerto Rico, because they were literally, and you know, I'm not expecting you to pronounce things correctly, but at least if you don't know how to pronounce it, but you know what it is, then it's fine, you know? And I was like, yeah, I actually unsubscribed because it's like, you know, and then like you just mentioned, right, that's a picture I took of Castaway Cay. I grew up like 15, 20 minutes from a beach that's just like that, right? Yeah. So for me, when somebody's trying to grab a cabana on Castaway Cay or Lookout Cay, it's like, you're paying how much for that? Of course, because I have the privilege of going back, or you guys probably know, but then I have to understand, like, no, they've been in the full winter and it's worth them having more space, right? So it's kind of interesting to see it the other way. There's one cool thing that even my daughter jokes around, even though she doesn't drink liquor, right? And it's the first drink of the day. How did that come about? Because that's one of the funnest things you guys do.
This is how Laura right here.
Yeah, so it was, and like it still kind of is sometimes, a trend on TikTok. Like a couple of years ago, it was a really big thing where people would record TikToks where a lot of the times it was someone's like wedding or something, and it would be like all the bridesmaids and like the groom and the bride doing like, hi, I'm so-and-so, this is my first drink of the night. And then they would record their last drink of the night. So it was like that drastic difference, you know, they're acting normal and then they're acting insane at the end because they've had so much to drink. So we started doing that, and then it kind of just shortened itself into first drink of the day.
Yeah, I think we might have forgot to do it, and it just became
not doing the ending drink, but just kind
which is less risky, right? Because we
we don't always want to show the last drink.
No, not at all.
We just kind of started doing first drink of the day, and it's turned into other things like, you know, if you don't drink alcohol, it can be like Fain and Laura, this is my first Diet Coke of the day.
Or even ice cream. We have a shirt that says first cone of the day for people that don't drink, so they do the ice cream.
Yeah, people that love ice creams on the cruise ships.
Yeah,
to get the
that's such a big thing.
First cone of the day.
First cone of the day.
So that's where it came from. It's honestly really silly, and it kind of started out as like a joke. It was never serious, and now we just say it every video.
Yeah, and now we literally have it trademarked for our merch.
So some people hate it too, but
we love that people keep saying it. We have people come up to us on cruise like, I was just doing my first drink of the day.
Yeah.
So it's awesome.
I love when people tag me on Instagram too, and I repost their things.
But that's what you do very well, because I remember I was in St. Kitts and I posted a first drink of the day, and that's when I think I started talking more with Laura, because Laura is the one usually on Instagram, correct?
Yeah.
So it's cool because sometimes that's what's cool about having these tools where you can connect. Doesn't mean you have to be there answering all the time, but if you you can connect with somebody when you have something in common. And I think like you said, my daughter doesn't drink, but if whatever she's drinking on the cruise ship, especially when she's on a cruise, she'll joke around that's the first drink of the day. And you've influenced her, and that's what's cool. And I like the fact that it's inclusive, because not everybody can drink, right?
Yeah.
Especially in a cruise ship. If you can't drink, you should be drinking. We've seen enough videos of that. So making it inclusive, and me being an ice cream lover, of course, maybe that's the next piece of merch I need to buy for myself. One of those t-shirts.
First cone of the day, because Disney has amazing ice cream on the ships. Like the banana ice cream is my favorite. Oh, God. So I'm like, let me get my first cone of the day for sure.
Yeah, I'm not feeling like drinking today. Let me go get my first cone of the day.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. It's just like a fun inside joke with everybody.
And you're on vacation. You're living it up. This is my first drink. This is my first cone.
Yeah. Be any way you want.
That's the vibe, right? Because again, that's one thing with theme parks, especially with, I love the video you guys did of Epic, because it was just like, that's how most people are going to experience Epic, right? Not everybody's going to do the research. They're just going to get there, right? And what it adds is to have people have fun, because these theme parks are so expensive, and you walk around and you see people that are miserable because they probably read on the internet that they have to do this whole itinerary and visit 3 or 4 parks. And then as soon as rain happens and they can't get on a ride, it just goes. So I think that's what I enjoyed by that. So jumping back to cruising, you've sailed in. I mean, I was looking at your YouTube videos just to refresh my mind, right? I saw you've sailed on Carnival, Royal, Virgin, Disney, Celebrity, Margarita, which is a pretty unique one. What is your top pick and why? And I know that might vary depending on what you guys are seeking for. But
do you want cruise line or specific ship?
Well, do both.
Both? Okay. For me, top cruise line, honestly, I would have said Virgin.
Yeah.
I think right now it might be Norwegian after our most recent cruise, because that just was incredible. So those are my top cruise line. Oh, I guess let me do ship. I love Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas. It was absolutely incredible. And then maybe maybe Valiant Lady for Virgin.
Okay. For me, it would be NCL, because we had a great time. I've never been on an NCL ship, and just blew me away. For ship, I'll still say it's between Wonder or Utopia. I just love that Oasis class ship. But honestly, a close second is the Edge class ships on Celebrity. It's just the quality of service. So it's one of those. And Virgin's fun and they have good food, but I think it's between, for me, NCL, Royal, and Celebrity, I guess you could say.
So when it comes to service, what would be the top one?
Ooh, service.
I think Celebrity for me would be top service.
I will also say NCL. And then I honestly, Disney Cruise Line has really great service.
Yes, you're right. Never mind. It's Disney, then Celebrity. Yeah. For quality of service.
Yeah.
You're right. Thank you. Reminded me that.
You're welcome.
And then food wise?
Food wise, I'm pretty much tied between Virgin and Norwegian.
Exactly. Same. They're both really good.
Yeah.
Disney's good too, but
yeah,
NCL,
Disney would probably come next for me.
We didn't have anything bad on NCL. It was all good.
It was so good.
Yeah, because I know you had an experience at MSC America, and I did a blog on that video after I saw, and you guys had some issues with the food there, right? Or
yeah, it's not the best. It's kind of hit or miss for me on MSC. Definitely main dining room is usually a miss.
Yeah, but the gelato though.
Oh yeah, they have the best gelato in the world on MSC. I will give them
so good.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's what's great because you can pick something that's nice out of everything, right? And just make it the best, right?
Make a Frankenstein ship, put them all together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend that he works for Disney, and his wife also works for Disney Cruise Line, and he loves the food at Virgin. He's actually a chef, so I'm consistently hearing that Virgin's food is at another level. I guess I gotta wait till my daughter's 18 to get on it because he's told me I can't get on a ship until. Anyway, so how many sailings have you guys done?
I can tell you actually because I keep a running list.
I kind of thought you would.
So these are just the sailings that we've done together. But we have done together, the two of us have done 33 cruises.
And that's that's since 2021?
No, that's since
2019. Am I 30?
No, 2020 technically. Wait. 2018 New Year's Eve going into 2019.
Yeah.
That was our first cruise together.
But it really ramped up, obviously, once the
2021.
cruising came back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do cruising content, but we started in 2021 when the restart of the Disney. Was it 2021? I think so.
Yeah.
And from there on, we've done, I think, 8, which is, we've done 0 until, so that's kind of cool. And then I asked for which one was the best, which is the worst, and I kind of have an idea when it comes to getting out.
They all are unique in their own special way. The one we've had the least excitement to be on would be Margaritaville Paradise.
But we still had a good time.
Yes, because we made it. We enjoyed each other's company.
It was a time when we needed like a little getaway. So even though the ship wasn't great, like we still really enjoyed our time. And the food wasn't great. But then for me, next I would probably say the Meraviglia.
Oh yeah.
MSC Meraviglia.
Yeah. I mean, okay, sorry. Margaritaville isn't bad. If you've never been on a cruise ship, because I think we just got off another cruise, a really nice one. But if you've never been on a cruise, Margaritaville is going to be nice. But for us, we just need to get away. And Meraviglia.
Yeah, I guess for overall quality, I would probably have to go with Margaritaville.
I think at the price of Margaritaville, if you just want to get a getaway, I mean, I've seen people that say it's worth it, but again, you have to look at the price. It's like,
very true.
Okay, so I want to dig in more into your creative process, and feel free to share what you want. I know you guys are not gatekeepers, but I don't want to make you guys uncomfortable. So, how do you do that planning of filming, and from the planning to filming to then the post process?
I'll let you start with this one because it's more from you.
So it mainly just happens to a year to 6 months, 6 months to a year out, where we want to decide what ships we want to go on and what's coming out and what's going to be new or renovation or whatever like that. So we try to plan our calendar that way. But then a month out from the trip, say we just got on the Norwegian Aqua. About a month ago, we sat down and said, all right, these are the places we're going. This is how many days we want to film. What can we make with this content? So we just plan out, we want to do excursion here. We plan that out. And then just literally just come up, we look at our schedule and come up with ideas.
Plan which days that we want to film while we're on the ship and plan out, how many vlogs that we want to have on that particular trip. If we want to have reels or TikToks as well, like writing down those. And Fain also does something that I really appreciate, which is on boarding day. It's called a run of show, right?
Oh yeah, I also make a run of show. Like our vlogs aren't really scripted, but we have a framework where we want to, or checklist, that we try to hit to make sure that we got everything that we want to cover. So we don't really try, we script out some things, but we don't really try to have our vlogs scripted per se because it's not as natural. But when it comes to the food, videos, the food reviews and all that, we know what restaurant you want to hit at a certain time and a certain day. This keeps us organized, I should say.
Yeah, and I think that leads to like not scrambling at the end, being like, oh, we didn't cover this, or like, you know, disagreements between the two of us. Like,
but it also helps with not getting burned out, because in the early days of Travel Spree, we used to try to film every single thing every single day and get as much content as you can. But then
there's no like purpose or like direction to it.
No, so we figured out and learned that if we say, all right, we're not going to do 7 vlogs for 7 days. We're going to do 5 vlogs. Take a day off, chill out, hang out, enjoy the cruise. Then that's what we do, and it's helped us not feel so burnt out and regret going on a trip or feeling frustrated on a trip.
Yeah, having time off camera to enjoy the trip as well.
And then after that, we come home, and then depending on like our schedule for our calendar, we edit the videos once a week.
Fain edits the videos.
Yeah, I edit the videos every week.
Yeah. So that was, you answered 2 of my next questions, which is I imagine Fain, given the skills he has and what he does every day. But I think what's really interesting is that since you do this all the time, you're like thinking about creating reels and TikToks and doing that pre-planning, because that's what you would do for a client, correct?
Yeah. Pretty much. And then if Laura needs help with something, then I'll help her. But like, we have an idea or like a rough, not estimate, but like we have a vision for the TikToks and all that stuff before we get on the ship, so we know we want to make it when we want to make them.
Yeah.
But yeah, literally and then I just try to take what I learned in corporate and freelance and have some type of schedule where it's like, okay, like we have almost our whole year planned out on our calendar, where it's just like, this is vlog 1, vlog 2, vlog 3 on this week. So we both know what content's coming out at what time.
Yeah, and it can definitely change. It does change all the time, honestly, but it's nice to see that laid out.
Yeah.
So pretty much the editing, filming, everything's on Fain, right? And then I guess you take care of the planning of the trip and stuff like that, because you're a travel agent too, right, Laura? Or?
Honestly, for our trips, I feel like Fain will book something and then tell me later. Since he's like the researcher, like he finds like, you know, what's trending, like what's coming out next year. He's like, we need to go do this. So he'll book things. I'm more my job is mainly like the social media, like Instagram, TikTok. I do edit those videos, most of those videos, concepting for that, talking to people in the DMs. So you get a lot of messages. So connecting with people.
I do not converse. I am not the talker. I would tell it straight. Laura knows how to properly say something, how she feels.
Yeah. And then, you know, conversing with, you know, we have people reaching out to us via email for sponsorships or any of that. I'm more of like the face and like the corporate communication.
The voice, yeah.
And Fain is, you know, the crazy creative behind it all.
Well, but she also does handle the travel agency.
I do, yeah. Like for our group cruises, I book everything.
Yeah.
And organize a lot of it. So, but yeah, when it comes to planning our own stuff, Fain just books things.
Yeah, so. Pretty much. I mean, that's what I did with Royal America. I just booked it and didn't tell her until like 2 years later.
Yep.
2 years later. It's funny because I don't know why my wife thinks I'm gonna plan something without letting her know. And like as soon as she sees me she'd rather be home. She doesn't like to be out and about. But once she gets there, once I book something, she's the one doing extra research, and maybe I say, "Wait, I thought you didn't want to go." So you said that Fain did that. For some reason, Lucy thinks I would do that to her. But you know, right now I was looking at Adventures at Disney with the travel agent discount, which is pretty interesting. And I was like, and she's like, "Nope, we're not doing that. We're not going to where you want to go." Anyway, so you mentioned something which is going to be one of my questions, of that importance of keeping a balance. You know, making sure you're capturing the moment, but you're still in the moment. You already gave some tips on that. Any other tips when it comes to making sure? Because when we started the business, it was Lucy and I, and we're a couple. And then business problems all of a sudden ran into becoming personal problems. Like, wait, no. And over time we got over it, and we've been running the business since 2008. And now, if it's business related, nobody takes it personal, But how do you mix all of that, especially in an environment where everybody's trying to have fun, but make sure you still enjoy it?
It can be tough, and it's not always like great, to be honest.
I mean, we've had our tiffs.
Oh yeah, definitely. But kind of, honestly, it's just like communication where, you know, I'll tell Fain, like, I'm really not feeling it right now. And he's, you know, respectful of that. And, you know, instead of just telling him, like, I'm not feeling it, I'll tell him, like, okay, like, here's when I can make it. Like, I'll give solution, or I'll try and give solutions. Like, you know, let's pick this back up here.
The only time I've ever exploited it was when she got sick of COVID. But after that,
I gave him permission. Like, if I had told him no, he wouldn't have told me.
But whenever you're feeling sick, or because we've been sick a couple times on the ship,
or I'm stressed, or just like something's going on, like, you are respectful of that. Like, sometimes it can get frustrating. But
also helps when we don't vlog every day now. We can, like, move days around. Like, oh, we're supposed to vlog on Thursday, but you feeling bad on Tuesday, then we can film on Thursday then. And
that is super helpful to have those, like, flexible days, because those flexible days can be moved around.
Yeah.
Or days where, like, because I still have, like, a day job, and, you know, I work from the cruise ships a lot of the time. So, you know, I tell him, like, hey, this day I have a little bit of extra stuff going on. Can we move things around? So it's really just about, like, that flexibility and giving ourselves that space to just, like, decompress.
Yeah. Another big thing is, if you come from this industry, my background, like film and photography and all that stuff, leave that at the door. Like, you still bring it, but when we first started, I was on a shoot, like, straight up, we need to get this shot, this is how you need to do it. And Laura didn't understand that because she's not in that realm. And then I had to learn everything doesn't, like, I'm the client and I'm also the shooter. I don't have to have it perfect. People don't want to see perfect. They want to see real.
I've had, that's something I think I've taught you is like, things don't need to be perfect, because that's not real. And that's not what people are sticking around for. They want to see the imperfect. They want to see the candidness. And so that's something I've kind of had to teach you a little bit.
And it's obviously made, like, us as a couple and business owners better in the long run, because, like, I'm not as tightly wound, honestly, when it comes to, I need this, I need that. But it's also like an outlet for me where a client is very nitpicky about something. But for me, I can say, you know what, I'm going to have this video, do whatever. And I don't care, because no one's going to tell me no. And it's like a little outlet of, like, getting that frustration from working with a client versus doing my own thing.
I get that, because, like, right now with building the website and creating these blogs and stuff like that, when I try to teach a client or tell a client you got to do this, they want to do something else, you know. And then it's cool, because if it failed, it's up to me, but I can adjust it. I don't have to ask anybody. But most of the time, since I know what I'm doing, it's working and it's bringing, you know, traffic, and I can keep on tweaking. But it's like, when somebody says, "Oh, can you build me a website?" Building a website's easy. The problem is making sure that website fits you, right? Yeah. So now that's what's cool of doing this project, because I can just do it for myself, you know, and I don't have to worry. And, like, the other day I did a video and it wasn't up to par, and I published it. Why? Because if not, like, you know, I'm not an expert in this. And then when I see somebody else that does something really crappy and they build a big audience, it's like, I can only blame myself. You got to admire the fact that they just hit publish, you know, kept on going. But I can see that. It's like today I was talking to. So a few weeks ago, I did an event for my friend who's a personal trainer, and they have like a field day for all the gym, you know, subscribers, the people out of the gym. Yeah. And this time they brought this young kid who's used to doing cinematography, he's not used to shooting events. Yeah. So here he is. Every time I was trying to take a photo, because I try to get people candid. Like, I'm just doing this for fun, and it's for my friend. He's pretty relaxed. But every time I was trying to take a photo, he was getting into my shot, or putting a camera in front of people. Which, like, if you're dealing with actors, they're used to it, but these are not actors, right? Yeah. And I wasn't feeling that great. And like, if I show you the pictures of the first 3 years of the event, and these, you can tell, I was like, I'm out, because I was there to have fun. But the funny part is that today I ran into his boss who put him there, and I said, "Hey, that kid is pretty. He seems to be really good at cinematography, but he doesn't know how to, like, do that in events." Say, "Oh, I agree. He was on top of everybody when he could have been shooting from the outside. It was in the end." And it was again, like, he was. I didn't want to get in his way. I didn't want to create a situation in front of other people, because they are they're my friends' customers. I just backed away and let him, because at one point he started giving me instructions, and I was like, okay, that's enough. Yeah, but again, it's he didn't realize that we were just all there to have fun. You know, we weren't filming a movie where, like, you know, but it's what he's comfortable doing.
That's the one thing I like about going shooting events. It's more of, once you're there, like, you and the other, even if someone got hired from someone else, like, you're there as a quote unquote team, and you respect everyone else's space. Like, hey, you're shooting right here, I'm going to wait till you move, or I'm going to try to shoot around you so I don't get in your shot, because obviously everyone wants to get the shot. So yeah, it sounds like he's used to being on set and not
That's it.
running gun type of thing.
And I don't think he had any bad intentions. He just wanted to get everything done the right way. So I didn't want to make him uncomfortable either. I literally just told him, hey, just have a chat with him if you're gonna put him in an event like that. Because with me, like, this is my friend's business. I was not gonna have a big deal. I knew my friend wasn't gonna get on my case if I didn't get the shots, right? But if it would have been another client event, then it would have been different, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool that you guys are now. It's more of a fun outlet than just what you do every day. One thing I really enjoy, because I started watching you because of cruising, but eventually your Japan and Hawaii trips were like awesome.
Thank you.
How do you plan those out? I mean, it's travel and it's you being you, right? But what's different?
It's very hard. It's a very difficult thing to do.
They're definitely harder to plan than cruises.
Well, at least for our channel. Oh, sorry. Okay, go. Sorry. I thought you were talking about something different.
No, I was just talking about, because you research a cruise, you have like, you can like see the map of the cruise ship, and like, here's like all the different events that you can go to, and just like all the activities on the ship. It's like, you research Japan, it's like a beast. Like, there's just millions of things. It's like, how do I know where to stay? And that comes through a lot of research.
Definitely takes more research.
Yeah.
For land-based.
So it's a ton more research for land-based trips, but we really enjoy them. We've done, let's see, what have we done now? We've done Portugal, London, Japan, Hawaii, and all-inclusive in Mexico, all-inclusive in Jamaica. And so we're trying to do like a combo of cruising and land travel, just to have, we don't want to be one all or the other.
Yeah. When it comes to planning, I made the huge mistake, because Japan was obviously the proposal, if anyone watched that. But I did so much research that I've ruined Japan for me in a way where I knew everything. Yeah,
he was like, oh, coming up on this corner, you're going to see blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what are you, my tour guide? Like,
yeah, I felt like a tour guide because I knew absolutely everything from watching YouTube videos and TikToks and all that stuff. So because of that, we both do like a surface level research, and then we just go.
Yeah.
Because if I do go like down the rabbit hole again, it will just ruin every single trip, and I won't be like surprised, like authentically surprised. It's just like, oh, look at that. I saw that 30 times in a video.
Yeah, exactly. So we kind of do our own research and then, come together to figure out what we're going to film.
Yeah.
But yeah, trying not to go down the rabbit hole and over research to where you ruin the surprise of it.
Yeah.
I think you guys must have hacked into my Google Drive, because you're answering so many other questions that I have for you. It's amazing how it happens. Yeah, that was one of the other questions I was going to ask. Like, when you do research, you just said you did surface research. In that case, Fain, which you're recommending not to do because for obvious reasons, right? You want to have that surprise effect, or to enjoy things and feel that you've not been there before, right? Because that feeling is weird. Like, how do you research trending topics? Because I know Laura also mentioned some of that earlier. What interests viewers, or do you just let it evolve organically?
Mostly it's involved organically, but you do need to do research and not go into a place blindly. We did that with London a little bit, and we got a lot of backlash for not like knowing like the history of London and stuff. But definitely and also your Puerto Rico thing, like they didn't know anything. So like definitely do your research, but when it comes to
you want to know some basic things, and like,
or how to pronounce something or try to pronounce something.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like this other places, I would say we look mostly at TikTok or like the top 10 things to do, and then if we want to do it, we do it. If not, we don't. But we don't try to pack our day full of stuff, because that means we're going to get from shooting from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. We're going to be burnt out every single day. So it's just...
Yeah, you got to stretch it across different videos. Yeah. So you're not doing all of these exciting things in one video and then the next one you have nothing to do.
Yeah. So whatever, if you think it's going to be a cool video, add it to the list.
But we also go, like, not only that, we go based off of, like, where do you want to go next year? It's like, I always wanted to go to Japan, and that's why we planned that one. And Hawaii, like, I kind of wanted to go, but I think that was more of something that you wanted to do.
Yeah, everyone talks about Hawaii. I've never been, so I was like, yeah, let's.
Yeah. Portugal we picked because
it was cheap.
we were trying to save money, a lot more money at the time, making a lot less money, and we were like, what is the cheapest place in Europe to travel to? And that's where Portugal came into play. But that was kind of like a happy accident. But yeah, it's between like trending things and then what we're genuinely interested in, because we make much better videos when it is something that we are genuinely passionate and excited about. Like, you can see that come across in the videos.
We also, at the end of the year, every year, we get a list from like Expedia or Forbes about trending places for the next year. And then we also consider those on our list as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And it's interesting because you did mention, right? I did mention the cultural aspect of it. There's two things that came to my head, right? I have friends who make documentaries, and like the documentary is 1 hour long, and people expect everything to be covered. It's like, you're covering the history of something. Something's going to be missed, right? And then I think what you guys do very well, which is different than what I saw with us other YouTubers, is that you don't project yourselves as the expert in the destination. You understand what, and I think that's what annoyed me, because it's like, man, I live here. Like, I can walk to Old San Juan and I'll be there in 45 minutes, even if I have a car, 8-minute drive. And I still don't feel I'm an expert, because there's so much to do. Similar to what you said with Japan, there's so many historical aspects and stuff like that you were just getting off and you didn't even research the list of items you wanted to eat, and you don't know what they are. Like, and you're not. Like, don't claim you're the expert. I know why they do it. Like, I've been working also. I know it's clickbait and stuff like that, but I think that's very important, right? Like, when you film a culture, you have to be respectful. But you also have to be aware there might be people from that culture watching you, Just the other day, I was watching one of Nathan's videos, Paging Mr. Morrow, and he was in Japan, and there was two Japanese, there was a couple with his merch, It's like, that means they've been watching him for a while, right? So with these platforms, it's not like before where if, like, I have friends who used to work for NHK, right, which is like CNN for the US or whatever news network you watch. And before, if it wasn't on there, and you can see it, but now YouTube, anybody can just pick it up and watch it, right? So finding that, how do you find that balance of remaining respectful, but also capturing your experience, because it's two different things, right?
Yeah, and I always try and, like, I feel like we always try and make it pretty clear in videos. Like, if we're going somewhere very new that we've never been before, that exactly what I just said, that, we've never been here before. We're discovering this along with you. Like Epic. We were like, hey, we're not theme park people. We're here for casually. Just want to set that standard. Yeah. We're not going to tell you all the details. And it's like, this is a casual vlog. Exactly. And like, we're, I always try and say, like, we're excited to like discover different things. And like, I know I don't have a ton of knowledge on, let's say we went to Japan. Like, I know I don't have a ton of knowledge on like the local culture near like Mount Fuji, like Kawaguchiko. Yeah. But like, I am learning about it. And like, I'm willing to learn. Yeah. Like, I'm not going there like just assuming things. Like, I am aware and open and like learning things. I'm never gonna act different. I'm never gonna act I'm never gonna act differently in a new place than I would at home. Yeah. So I'm not going to act crazy or be disrespectful. Always respectful. Yeah. Always, err on the side of caution. If you don't know if something is like socially acceptable, it's just like, be a good human being. That's like, literally what it comes down to. Be decent. It's really not that difficult. Yes, there's going to be times where you have awkward situations, but you learn from them and you just stay humble and don't ever assume that you are, doing things perfectly. I think that's important, right? Just being nice. I remember when I was really young when I was in the military, and they sent me to Central America, and I was just being nice to everybody, and that got me very.
I was pampered by the locals because I was just being who I normally am, right? But then some other people, they would get on these trips of thinking they were better. And, oh my God. So I think that's the best advice: just be yourself and be conscious, the same way what you were saying of, if you're filming, make sure you don't invade people's space. I think that's applicable anywhere. It doesn't matter where you're at, right? Having that awareness. When you guys have been filming, what has been like the most unique moment you've captured? I don't want to say viral moment because viral is overused, but what is a moment that you guys, can say, wow, it's good we captured this?
Ooh, okay. I'm trying to think of something that wasn't like planned.
Like a happy accident?
Yeah, because obviously it's like the proposal was a planned thing.
Yeah, I messed that shot up. I put the camera in the wrong place.
That is a good question.
Yeah, I'm not even sure, honestly. I feel like there is something, but I can't think of. It was just a happy accident that we caught.
I love like little random interactions from people that aren't in the video. Just someone passes by and they'll say something. They see us filming and you hear us talking about something, and it's not, because you have those people that pass by and they're obnoxious when they see a camera, like, oh my God, look at me. But like, they'll just kind of put their 2 cents in, like they're just, joking around with something you said. And like that, I always appreciate that. Always, if it's like in good taste. I like little outside environmental happy accidents like that.
Yeah, I can't think of anything, honestly. That was just like a happy accident. I know it has been something. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of anything.
From my perspective as an outsider, I think that you guys capture everything so organically that, like, because the other day we were watching the epic, and when Laura jumped, when she was, something happened that something started. Laura. Yeah. It was, you kind of felt bad for Laura for a second, but then it was funny, So I think, there's so many moments like that maybe if you guys had more of a structured, like, trying to aesthetically make everything feel, you can remember, but I think
it's kind of made up of those moments, so it's a little difficult.
Yeah. So I asked the question, but then that's the first thing that came to my head. So one of the things we always enjoy is Laura's looks. Not that you don't have to put in your style into Fain, but Laura, how do you stay stylish and comfortable while traveling, right? Because
so I honestly, I kind of have like, I think my style has like evolved with traveling and cruising. Like I never used to wear a lot of like super colorful clothing. So I think that's something that has definitely changed. And then like, I want it to be something where it's, it stands out, but it's not, I'm not like dying in like something tight or like, in like crazy high heels or anything. So, I love a good like maxi dress because they're super comfortable and it feels like I'm wearing pajamas.
Yeah.
And then other times, it's not too often, but you'll see me in some of our vlogs, like in leggings and a t-shirt. Like sometimes I just want to be like extra comfortable. So, honestly, I've just kind of found my fashion, but found my style throughout the years. And I feel like it also changes like almost every year too. Mm-hmm. I go through different like phases, but I have like my shops that I essentially get my clothes from the same shops throughout the years, even if my style changes. So
has your style changed when you move a little bit from Georgia over to Orlando? Because I know, like, I understand Fain's style because we're from the islands, right? So whatever he wears makes sense to me, but I'm right. It's what we grew up around, right? A lot of color, a lot of. Yeah. I visited a lot of the U.S. and you go around and there is a lack of color, right? In a lot of areas, except unless you're in Orlando or Miami or something like that. Yeah. Do you think that has made you change your style, or cruising has done that?
I think that pushed you to change your style a little bit too. Not like purposely, but like with the Kenny Flowers matching outfits.
Oh, like the matching outfits and stuff. But no, honestly, I think it really was just like cruising and traveling that, because it's just like a fun way to express myself. And sometimes it's annoying because I feel like I have way more outfits for that than just like everyday stuff. And I get frustrated, like, or if I have to go like on a business trip for work, it's like, oh, I have nothing to, I only have like these fun, colorful, like dresses and stuff, like or rompers. Like, I'm not going to wear that to work. So it's, it can be annoying sometimes. Like, I have too much of it, but.
I can understand that. I went from living in Puerto Rico to working in Manhattan, where it can't get any more gray and black than this corporate world in Manhattan. And I remember they used to make fun of my looks. They used to make fun of my shoes and stuff. I didn't care, But then now it's like, man, I was calling too much attention. That's why things happen. So, and then the other cool thing is that usually when you start a video and you're going on an embarkation day, you guys share your style, both of your looks. You guys plan that out so you guys match? Because I've seen that before. I don't know if it happens by accident or it's planned out.
Sometimes it's planned. Yeah, like sometimes we'll buy the matching sets for like Kenny Flowers is our favorite for like couples matching sets. But yeah, honestly, I feel like we don't do that as much anymore. It's more of like we both just have like fun, colorful things that we want to wear. Yeah,
like every so often, like it was like a big inaugural icon. It has to be like a matching thing.
For stuff like that, we'll plan more.
And that's just like an outlet for like, we're not at home. No one knows who we are technically, and we're just going on a trip. And so it's just fun. Yeah, it's just fun.
I think. Yeah, because I see some people, like, especially if you go into the Facebook groups of cruising, they plan everything out. And for me, that's too much, right? So, but I understand it. I am not criticizing. For me, I want to just go and have fun. I don't want to have more stuff to carry or to take or stuff like that. So, yeah. So if there's like must-have items for you guys to have when you're cruising, outside of the equipment you need for filming and stuff like that, what are those things you could recommend?
You know what it is?
It's a personal battery-operated fan.
It's
a fan. Like if I can only bring my equipment and one other thing of technology, it's the fan. Because yes, you have air conditioning on your ship and you're in the cabin and all that stuff, but just to get a little bit of circulation of air in the room at night, makes a whole difference.
Yeah, we have a personal fan. It's like about like this big, and it has like
it collapses.
It extends. So we like prop that up and then it oscillates too. So we have it going back and forth across us. And it's been like, it wasn't something like it was something we didn't know we needed. And now we can't live without it.
Don't get me wrong, like the magnetic hooks are cool and the luggage tag slips are cool and all that. But if I had to choose one, it would probably be a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, because magnetic, you can work around, but fan, you need one. Yeah, we use those fans here because the electricity goes out so much. We do have a pair of those, so they're practical even for a blackout. So you can use them for cruising. And then I remember you guys when I started watching you guys used to do a lot of challenges, right? I remember one time you guys handcuffed each other. I've seen less of that. Is there a reason you moved away from it, or?
Not necessarily, honestly. It's just it was hard to like come up with things to do.
It's fun. It's as Laura said, it's how many challenges can you do on a cruise ship and keep it interesting. So like it just became like we love doing them and we want to do more. It's just the idea of thinking.
We haven't like completely said like we definitely haven't said like, oh, we're never doing that again. It's just we just haven't.
Yeah.
So I could see them making a comeback maybe like once a year or something, but it's not going to be a ton of them because it's a lot.
And we also want to stand out from just regular cruise vlogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, because I was looking at it and I'm like, yeah, I kind of watch them more now than when they did the challenges because I just like watching you guys have fun, right? But those things are kind of curious and can help, right, grow an audience, right? Because the reality is people will look on that, even though if it's not for everybody. I know I told you guys an hour, we're getting close to the hour, so I want to start wrapping up. I have some questions because I know Spain says something. You guys can go out and nobody knows. You guys, not so much because I know now you're even in the theme park the other day. When I watched the video, you were being recognized at the theme park, someplace you don't go often.
Yeah.
What is the most meaningful or surprising interaction you had where you're like, wow, this is really working, where people are like approaching you and just being appreciative of what you guys do?
And That's a hard one too, because I feel like most of them, I feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
I guess kind of just what comes to mind for me is, I think on the World America, we had a teenage girl come up to us on the Lido deck, and she was talking about like, I never think of like younger people watching our stuff, like young adults, yes, but like younger, like teens. So that was kind of cool to see. And then she was talking about like how she had started a channel. There was also another situation like that where we were on, it was a royal ship. We were walking into Coco Cay, that girl and her dad.
Oh, it's a Liberty.
Yeah.
For your birthday.
For my birthday. And we met like another teenage girl who she was going to start a channel. And like, I love those interactions because I'm like, I want to know, like, I always like to know like what their social media is, so like I can go and support them, because I just love, like, I don't know, I just think it's really fun to go support like younger talent, or just like blooming talent.
Oh, look at you.
Kind of help like not make their dreams come true. That's silly, but like just inspire them and motivate them maybe to keep going, because I feel like that means a lot. Or I just put myself in their shoes, and I'm like, if someone that I watched on YouTube that I really enjoyed had come up to me and said like, oh, well, what's your channel? Like, thanks for watching mine, but what's yours? Like, what do you do? Those are really meaningful interactions to me.
And I still don't feel like we're like, yes, we're a bigger channel in this space, but I still don't feel like we're big, honestly. So I still, like, I appreciate everyone that comes up to us. And we always tell people, if you see us, say something. If I'm filming a clip, give me a second to finish and then come say something. But yeah, it's just, I think one of the biggest things that still kind of shocks me is we have like a personal thing where it's not really like narcissistic in a way, but it's just a cool thing that happens to us. So far, any place we've gone, a cruise or land travel, we've met at least one person that has seen our stuff. Japan, Portugal, I think to the airport, London. So I think it's just crazy to think that we make content in Orlando and people are seeing it all across the world.
Just like someone you wouldn't suspect. Or just like, not often, but every once in a while, like we're in the grocery store and someone comes up to us. So those are always like really, like they kind of throw me off for a second, but then it's just like, it's always memorable.
I think I'm the kind of person that I'll go say hi and, obviously in a genuine way, not trying to get anything out of everybody, because that's the other thing, right? When things are growing, people are trying to shout out their channel and stuff like that. I'm just have an interaction with the person, just say hi. And I remember when I first started going to Disney a lot with my daughter, I used to follow this blogger because that's mostly writing. And I ran into him and I immediately recognized him, and I kind of like scared the shit out of him because it was like, oh, so and so, and he's like, what? And and I kind of felt bad because I don't think he's getting recognized as like, but I used to like read it. He's a photographer. He had a lot of good tips, but then it becomes the most successful people I know that online they take the time, even if it's a second, it's a minute, right? And that's so important because like. I've been in situations where I've known somebody online, then when you meet them in person, I'm like, wow, this is a facade. It's not true.
I want to be that.
No, I don't.
And I met you personally, so I know that's not the case, but it's so important to keep on building that community. And there's the word influencer is thrown out a lot, but the question is, you're influencing what, right? And in that case, Laura, you're influencing younger kids who want to get into YouTube, but then it's important also to educate them in the things that are, sexy about it and which ones are not. Maybe sexy for a kid is not the right word, but what I mean is what's interesting, what's not, correct, right? So, because, for example, my daughter's 14 and I can turn on YouTube and she's on her iPad and she won't watch most of the stuff I watch. But when I turn on Saturdays, which is, that's the good thing you guys have consistently, she'll usually jump in and watch and she enjoys it. So that's kind of cool that you guys are also looking for a way to support. When it comes to community, right? Because I know you guys do your group cruises and stuff like that. How have you seen that grown from when you started? Where, like Fain said earlier, I don't know if anybody watched it. Of course, a lot of people watched the proposal video from the past, but how has that changed?
In terms of, you said with planning the group cruise.
Or no, just community grown.
Just building community, right? Because it's not the same to be talking via the internet or just an interaction where somebody leaves a comment versus that person actually spending time on with you in person or in another more intimate interaction.
It's grown a lot. We found a lot of like-minded people, to be honest with you. Even like we just went to St. Thomas and we met a couple down there and they were pretty cool, like chill to hang out, but they're like also like our type of people. So being authentically us on our video, it has helped one see we show the transparency, but also build the community. And so when we have our group cruises, we're starting to notice that people that think like us or act like us or just like want to like just chill come on those group cruises and
just like genuinely good people.
Yeah.
I mean, excuse me, a lot of them are very quick interactions. So I can't tell you if someone's like a good person for saying hi to them, but like we were very nervous like last year for our group cruise because we didn't know like who we were gonna attract. Like, who knows?
I mean, knock on wood, we don't get it crazy this time. But
yeah, it's just like it ended up being like a group of people that, I would have maybe hung out with like in high school or just like people that I genuinely cared about and enjoyed their company. Yeah. So that made me really proud, I guess, of what we've put out online because it means like, we are attracting the right type of people.
And they all talk to each other still because they didn't know each other, but now they still talk in a group. Not every day, but like once a week or so.
Yeah, creating this community of like good, solid people.
Yeah.
Very proud of that.
But we do see it growing. We see more and more people come up or sign up for our memberships or just, I don't know, just like watch the videos every Saturday, which is nice. I love seeing like new faces pop up.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I think that's important, right? That aspect of, like you said, finding people that have common values, especially when you're doing a group cruise, right? Because you don't want somebody who can, mess things up or is not going with the vibe, because not only is it going to ruin for them, it's going to ruin for everybody else. So I think that's critical. And the other thing I think you guys do very well is that you consistently create content, but you don't overdo it, right? There's nothing, since I've been creating content for a long time and I've worked with a lot of people who do have huge audiences, many of them, like, don't apologize if you didn't publish, you don't need to come back and apologize for the first 3 minutes of the video. Just get back at it, right? Because reality is people didn't miss you that much if you were not publishing, right? Like it's our egos that sometimes get into the way. But I think in your case, one video, because like if you do a cruise, you do a cruise. But I can see how what you project of enjoying it is so true, because you're not doing a embarkation day 1 video, embarkation 2, and these are 1 hour videos, and I'm like, wow, these people, that's all they do, right? Because how much video do you have to film to be able to get an hour?
I know, we've filmed for Epic Universe. I filmed for 2 hours and we only got an hour out of it. Like that's what also helps with my training. My experience with like corporate editing and all that. I cut out all the fluff.
A lot.
So like if I was to do a video, some people would have took that 2 hours and made a 2-hour video. But it's just like, that's not...
You got to make it engaging. Stuff can get boring really easily.
But also, I'm growing up doing YouTube. Two things that I try to, I told Laura that I don't want to do is, one, saying, hey guys, sorry you missed last week, as you're saying, but we're back at it again. And 2 is, I try never to say, we do this for you guys. We're showing you this for this, you guys. We're doing this activity for you guys. Just do the activity, have fun, enjoy it. Like we're making videos so people can enjoy, but I never want to feel like I'm being forced to do something because of other people. I want to enjoy it myself and bring you along with me.
Yeah, that's the only thing I ever really say is like, we're going to bring you guys with us, or like at the end, like, thank you guys for letting us do what we do. It's never like, we're not doing something for anyone.
I'm going to show you this room for you guys. No, just show us the room.
Like, you guys are...
You spend all that money for random strangers. Yeah, I think that's what's genuine. But again, I think the fact that I'm just thinking about it right now, the fact that you do a video also helps you stay fresh and enjoy it more. Because if you're in that strict, like having to do a video a day, then you're gonna be miserable. I've been watching this gentleman. I think he's from Australia or he's British, and he does disability videos, right? And his videos are like 5 minutes long. but every video has a snippet of something that you can learn, especially if you want to learn about how people who get on cruise ships with disabilities, at the, what they experience, right? And his personality is kind of like standoffish and stuff, like, very, very unique. But then you're like, this guy's not doing an hour video; he did a 5-minute video. Funny thing is, he did a video yesterday. I watched, and then he did a cliffhanger. Like, damn it! But guess what? I'm gonna watch it next time he brings it up. So I think that's important. So I'm gonna do a rapid round of questions. Some of these I probably ask in one way or other, and then after that we'll wrap up. What is the cleanest cruise line?
The cleanest?
Celebrity.
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
You gotta spit them.
NCL.
NCL. Okay. Funnest cruise line?
Carnival.
Virgin.
Easiest to sail with?
Royal.
Royal.
Most pampering experience?
Wait, what was that?
Most pampering.
Oh, pampering.
So far, for me, celebrity.
NCL.
Most underrated cruise destination?
Ooh, cruise destination. I love Cozumel.
I knew you were going to say Cozumel. Honestly, I'm not trying to pander to you, but I'll say Puerto Rico because you still can't experience everything in Puerto Rico when you go there. And like, I know there's rainforest and all this, all the way in the back, but we used to stay literally in Old San Juan. I know, sorry.
You have to come. You guys have a room here. Just let us know. Come for a few days. I mean, you can stay in a hotel and stuff like that, but you guys are invited in my house. I don't invite everybody. And then favorite cruise ship so far?
NCL Aqua.
Icon of the Seas.
For you, Laura, most surprising travel moment?
Most surprising moment?
Rapid fire.
Stop! You're honestly, I'm just gonna go with like most surprising trip that I wasn't expecting to love so much was Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Fain?
Same, but mine was the pineapple plantation. I hate that word. Pineapple farm. In Hawaii, because I didn't think pineapple would be that good, and they were.
Yeah, I guess my moment would be driving around Hawaii. Like I really enjoyed driving.
Yeah. That's where you guys need to come over here for a few days because, so and sorry, I know it's wrapping around, and there's a big immigration of Puerto Ricans that went to Hawaii to teach the Hawaiians how to cultivate pineapples.
Oh, really?
So yep. If there's Puerto Ricans that have been there for over 100 years, and they still remain with their culture and stuff from Puerto Rico, but they probably not even visited Puerto Rico because it's so distant, right? So at one point, there was an immigration of Puerto Ricans that went to Hawaii because they knew how to cultivate pineapples and they wanted to get that industry going over there. So if you like those pineapples, which I'm sure you have to come over here. I have a friend called Alberto. That's all he does on the weekends. He will pick the best pineapple for you and hand it to you. And I understood you because when I go to the supermarket, I don't even want to buy pineapples because
I feel that way right now.
Yeah, that's how we've been.
I'm trying to grow my pineapples out in the front.
Yeah, but that's cool. The information you guys share, like it takes so long for somebody to grow them that's where you have to appreciate a good pineapple even more.
Yep.
And then most surprising travel moment.
Oh, most surprising. Maybe getting COVID on a cruise ship.
I'll go with that one.
I was shocked by that.
Airport or cruise port must-haves?
Airport or cruise port. I would say for the airport, if it's a long haul flight, I need to have my neck pillow that's like a neck brace.
Yeah.
It's not just like a normal pillow. It's basically just like hold your neck up.
Yeah, it looks like you broke your neck.
I bought that because is the TRTL correct? Is that the one?
Yeah, that might be it.
I bought it because of Laura, and that thing, I bought the bigger one. That thing is huge. I thought it was going to be huge.
I've had a couple of them. There was one I had where it was specifically for leaning against the airplane window, and I liked that one for a while, but now I'm into that, the neck wrap one.
Yeah.
It might be that one, but yeah, that or my AirPods, I would say.
I can't think of anything cruise port because like nowadays you can just zip right through the cruise port. I guess it's like for airport, it'd be like my little iFly thing where you can It's you hook your Bluetooth headphones up to it and plug it right in.
Oh yeah.
Ideal.
I've left mine behind, so I love it, but I'm also worried that I'm also gonna leave it behind.
I had to buy a new one because of that.
Yeah, and then best onboard meal on a cruise ship.
I know.
Meal.
That's hard.
We had so many good ones on our recent sailing on NCL. Where did we eat?
I'll just go easy, and I think the hibachi on the celebration for Carnival Celebration was the best meal. It was just so freaking good.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. We also had a really great meal at, honestly, the hibachi on NCL was pretty incredible too. I also love La Petite Chef on Celebrity.
Oh, I forgot about that. La Petite Chef's a nice one, yeah.
Yeah.
Super. And then bucket list destination for 2025?
2025?
I want to go to Australia or New Zealand. We haven't booked anything yet, but I would love just to go down under.
You sure you didn't book anything you didn't tell Laura?
Not yet. Are too expensive for me to sneak that.
I don't know. For some reason, I've had Switzerland on my mind.
Oh, Switzerland. I mean,
that sounds good.
And then to do Switzerland or Australia.
What's next for travel spree?
Next is, in July we're going to the first sailing to celebrate Carnival's new private island, Celebration Key.
Yep.
We'll be on the very first sailing that goes to that new private island. So
excited to track that out to see how it competes with Royal's Coco Cay.
Yep.
You are a fan of Coco Cay, correct?
Yeah, we love Coco Cay.
Best private island so far in the whole cruise industry.
Yeah.
Super. And then how can people support you? Because I know I watch your videos and stuff, but how else can you support?
You can
subscribe.
Yeah, check us out. Travel Spree on all one word on YouTube. Travel Spree Official on Instagram and TikTok. That's literally where you can find us. We do more on YouTube. That's where our bread and butter is.
It always helps to engage though. So comment. That helps us a lot. So.
Yeah. And then any final advice for couples or any content creators starting out in travel or lifestyle, like those little girls you mentioned, or anybody else is starting?
Well, I guess my biggest thing when it comes to filming, editing is very tedious. You have to get through that. When it comes to filming, make sure you show instead of tell. More show, less tell. Because there's a lot of people that start off, and that's how I learned not to do it. A lot of people start off telling, oh, I went to do this. Oh, I did that. And then I came back to do this. We want to see what you're doing. So make sure when you're filming, when you're there and you're vlogging, show us doing the activity, not just telling us that you did do the activity. It's a really big thing.
That's a good one. And then I'd also just say be yourself.
Oh.
Bring your weirdness to the camera.
Also copy people, to be honest with you. And it sounds really bad, but you got to find your style to be yourself, to be honest with you. So if you have 5 different vloggers, copy a little bit of what they do. Not exactly, but copy a little bit of what they do. And also add yourself into it. And that's how you find your own.
Maybe not copy, use them as inspiration.
Inspiration.
Yes.
And then put it together. And that's how I feel like the best way to be yourself on camera.
Fain mentioned that there used to be, when we used to give trainings for blogging and stuff like that before YouTube started getting popular, there used to be a website called Everything's a Remix. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I think I've heard of that.
And it would take literally, this guy would take movies and he would just take the same scene of 2 different movies, and they he would take snippets of different movies and he would just mirror, and you would see them mirroring at the same scene. Yeah. And he would do that with music and stuff like that. And I think that's what you're trying to say, right? You have to copy what people do well and stuff like that, but make sure you make it your own, right?
Yeah, never blatantly copy someone. You can absolutely use stuff as inspiration. It happens all the time in this community.
In movies and everything.
Yeah, don't blatantly copy someone, but definitely use other sources as inspiration. That's how new things are created. And
if it comes down to the edit, if you can cut it out of your video and your video doesn't skip a beat, you don't need it. So cut the fluff out. You don't need to explain this whole thing. If you can just cut it and the story still flows, you don't need it. Cut the fluff.
I think that's great advice. And before we end the video, I want to thank you and Laura, Fain and Laura, because, you know, I started this project. You guys said yes quickly, and I've been able to use your videos for some of my blogs. So thank you for that. And, you know, hopefully we'll keep on seeing and you guys hit the 100K, and congratulations on your wedding.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was good to catch up with you again, and definitely let you know next time we're back in Puerto Rico.